Hello, I am so glad you're watching our channel, which focuses on inspiration, encouragement, and help with all things homeschool. Today, I'm going to be giving some ideas about adapting homeschool curriculum to better meet your child's needs. And these ideas can be applied to curriculum from any homeschool company. And you can find more inspiring and encouraging videos like this here on the Good and the Beautiful YouTube channel. So consider subscribing if you find videos like this helpful. I've heard people say that it feels like their curriculum is controlling them rather than the other way around. If this is the case for you, it doesn't ever have to be that way. Your curriculum only controls your family if you choose to let it. Your curriculum is not in charge. It's a tool to use as you choose. Before I dig in, I want to say that while no curriculum is going to be a perfect match for every family, and every curriculum can be adapted, I do feel that it's important to find a homeschooling curriculum that is not only effective and enjoyable, but also meets your family's specific needs. You can also add some things in on your own, but if you're having to do a lot of adding in, it can become exhausting and unrealistic. And one other thing I should say is that with almost every curriculum, there comes a point in the school year of weariness and burnout, especially mid-year. If you're feeling that you need a change of scenery by changing up your curriculum, may I suggest that you pause and consider that change very carefully. Maybe what you really need is just a break from your curriculum for a little bit. Jumping from curriculum to curriculum can make things more difficult in your homeschool because every company uses a vastly different scope and sequence and progression. So if you're happy with your curriculum and feel that it is shaping your child's mind and heart how you desire, consider sticking through the hard times a bit longer before making a switch, because I do believe every curriculum can get to a point where you're feeling fatigued with it. And usually the next year or the next unit will change things up and you will feel refreshed after a break. On the other hand, if the curriculum is really not working at all, you may feel tempted to just push through regardless because you paid for it, but the money saved is not worth it. You don't have to use a curriculum just because you bought it. Now, let's talk about the length of lessons. This is an area that can be really helpful to learn about adapting for 3 reasons. 1, some children have a shorter attention span than others. And 2, some children are slower or faster in some areas or some subjects. And 3, you may want to choose which subjects you spend more or less time with, or choose how much time overall you want to homeschool each day. As you decide the length of lesson that is right for your child, look for cues when the child is getting fatigued. Look for posture changes, size, loss of focus, and interest. And if you generally love your curriculum, but you find the lessons are too long, I suggest shortening them by skipping certain parts or doing just part of a lesson each day, or even taking breaks in the middle of a lesson. If there are things that you feel are too hard for your children or are just busy work or are not helpful, feel free to cross those things out or to tell your child to skip those sections every time. But keep in mind that sometimes the things that are hard for your child are actually really good for them. And a child does not always have to deeply enjoy every part of what they are doing. So maybe if they are having a hard day or if a lesson is going particularly long, you can choose to skip some things that you generally wouldn't. Or maybe you completely pick and choose every day because you are very confident and specific in what parts of the curriculum you want to use. Here is some advice for new homeschool moms about adjusting lesson lengths. You can follow the exact lessons, but just take breaks or take more than one day to complete it until you feel more comfortable knowing how to adapt the curriculum. It might stress you out to start crossing things out, not knowing if it's something your child really needs or not. Adapting curriculum will start to feel natural to you as you become more in tune with your child and his or her educational level and strengths and weaknesses. Also, for some parents, adapting curriculum stresses them out, so you don't need to. Your child will probably be totally fine to just do the lessons with little or no adaptation if your curriculum is generally a good fit and your child is on the right level and you don't want to deal with a lot of adapting. Homeschooling has to work for the parent as well, and Getting deep into adapting can be a lot of work for the parent. You also need balance, and not every lesson needs to match your child perfectly. Remember, it is always good to make sure your child is at the right grade level and doesn't need to adjust to a higher or lower level. If they are stressed and need a lot of help all the time, the level might be too high. If they're not feeling challenged, and the level may be too low. Here are some ideas you can use if parts of a lesson are too challenging for your child or if your child is resisting the work. Have the child answer aloud instead of writing answers or responses themselves. Make it into a game, such as hopping up one stair with each right answer. Take turns reading every other page or paragraph with your child instead of the child reading everything. Write every other sentence or paragraph for your child. Change location. Go outside, go on the couch, go to the park, take a break. Get your child a snack. One way I like to adapt is by compromising with the child. This means if something is hard for my child, but I know they can do it, I sometimes require them to not do the entire assignment or not exactly as the instructions say, but the child still completes the lesson. For example, if a child is doing a writing assignment and they don't like the subject, you can let them change the subject every time. Or you can say that they can change the subject every other writing assignment, so they have some choice, but they also have to complete it as the instructions say sometimes. Here's another example of this kind of adaptation. Once my son did not want to read any books on his level. He just wanted easy reading. I wanted him to love reading and to also be challenged and to improve his reading. So I made a plan. He had to read each night for 30 minutes. For 20 minutes, he got to read picture books and lower level books. Then for 10 minutes, he read a book on his level. It worked so well, and eventually he outgrew wanting to read lower level books, but had gained the skills in the meantime to read higher level books. What if your child needs more practice with certain things in a course? For example, what if the course does not practice the spelling words enough for your child or does not practice as many words as you would like? This is another place you can adapt. You can keep a card with all your child's spelling words and even add your own and practice them daily. What if your math course has moved too quickly and your child doesn't know the multiplication facts that they need to be doing in order to get the work done correctly? You can pause the course and work only on multiplication facts for a while. What if your math curriculum reviews too much and you don't think your child needs so much review? Cross out all or some of the review sections. I want to re-emphasize that you do not have to adapt curriculum, and many people do not find a need to adapt it at all. We carefully design our curriculum and test it with real families, but you are the expert about your own child, and only you know their unique needs. Also remember that the curriculum needs to work for you, the parent. If science experiments really stress you out, you can choose courses like ours that have the experiments available in video format, or skip some or all of the experiments entirely. If your history curriculum suggests that you read a historical fiction read aloud at the end of each lesson, but you hate reading aloud, skip it or play an audiobook instead. I want to end by reminding you that pacing is important, and homeschooling allows you the beautiful opportunity to go at the right pace for your child. And it's important to adjust your expectations to your child's pace. The goal should not be finishing a course book in a certain amount of time or checking off all the boxes. Teach your child that you can take the time needed to learn and to discuss and to pause to explore. You don't have to rush through lessons. You can pause and take time to master concepts or skip review that is not needed. Choice is a priceless gift. In his 1828 dictionary, Noah Webster wrote this about the word choice: judgment or skill in distinguishing what is to be preferred. Even if you are new to homeschooling or don't feel like you are a natural teacher now, the fact that you are working one-on-one with your child and have the choice to adapt is going to make learning so much more effective. Believe in what you're doing. No one cares more about your child than you. As you continue homeschooling, you will get better and better at adapting curriculum if needed to meet your child's needs.